At the start of the movie, we are shown a sonogram image of two babies sharing a womb, setting a mysterious tone. The scene then shifts to introduce 17-year-old Maria Brennan, a socially awkward and painfully shy high schooler. Her introverted nature makes her an easy target for bullying, especially from her classmate Mark. Maria's only friend, Lily, often neglects her in group settings, leaving Maria feeling isolated. Maria's school life is far from ideal. One afternoon, she and Lily watch the school's ice hockey team practice. During the game, Lily disrupts the session by making out with her boyfriend, Sean, right in front of everyone. Maria, secretly harboring a crush on Sean, watches them with jealousy and sadness. At home, Maria's struggles continue. Her father, Dan, a controlling and philandering plastic surgeon, exerts a suffocating grip on her life, contributing to her intense social anxiety. Her mother, Amy, tries to support Maria but is herself grappling with depression and anxiety due to Dan's constant verbal abuse. During dinner, Amy suggests Maria attend prom with a boy, but Maria rejects the idea, storming off to her room. On her way, she overhears Dan cruelly labeling her a failure, leaving her heartbroken. Later, Maria discovers an old sonogram picture of twins hidden behind the mirror in her parents' room. The unsettling find lingers in her mind. Afterward, while taking a shower, Maria is horrified to see her reflection in the mirror moving independently of her. Overcome with fear, she rushes out of the bathroom. The next morning, Maria tries to share her frightening experience with Dan, but he cuts her off with a dismissive comment about her appearance. At school, Lily becomes preoccupied with Sean, leaving Maria alone once more. Mark seizes the opportunity to humiliate her by tripping her in front of everyone. While most of the students laugh, Sean steps in, helps Maria up, and even reprimands Mark for his behavior. That night, Maria hears a chilling voice calling her name from the bathroom. Trembling, she cautiously enters and is met with a shocking sight: her reflection in the mirror staring in the opposite direction. Maria's reflection in the mirror introduces herself as Aram, claiming to have always been with Maria, even since her birth. Aram explains that she can take away all of Maria's sadness, though her true intentions remain unclear. As the conversation unfolds, Maria finds herself strangely drawn to Aram, as the reflection knows all of Maria's likes, fears, and dislikes. The two bond easily, and Maria seems unbothered by the fact that she's talking to her own reflection. The following day, Maria is in an unusually good mood. After school, she visits her father's clinic and notices him being overly friendly with one of his patients. She brushes it off, thinking little of it, and instead enjoys a father-daughter outing to the movies. However, the evening takes a turn when they run into Mark, who acts friendly toward Maria in front of her father. As soon as he leaves, Mark's friends burst into laughter, mocking her and leaving Maria feeling humiliated. Dan notices the bullying but remains silent, offering no support. On the drive home, Dan invites Maria to visit his clinic the next day for an early birthday present. That night, Maria talks to Aram, who dismisses the idea of improving her relationship with Dan. Aram mocks Maria for believing that her father actually cares about her. Maria, however, holds on to the hope that Dan might surprise her with a gift, perhaps even a card, so she wouldn't have to face the bullies on the bus anymore. But when the day comes, her hopes are shattered. Instead of a thoughtful gift, Dan presents her with an offer for rhinoplasty, claiming that her nose is imperfect and needs to be fixed to look more sophisticated. Maria, crushed by the revelation, is left feeling hopeless but reluctantly agrees to go along with it. Back at home, Aram reminds Maria that she always knew what kind of person Dan truly was, adding a bitter sting to Maria's disillusionment. Aram, always attuned to Maria's sadness, tries to lift her spirits by joking about Dan's affairs, making Maria laugh for the first time in a while. However, when Amy hears her daughter talking to herself in the bathroom, she becomes alarmed and immediately tells Dan. In response, Dan dismisses the concern, giving Amy a sleeping pill and suggesting she rest. Before drifting off, Amy confesses that she has started experiencing the same recurring nightmares, a haunting sensation that has troubled her since Maria's birth. The next day, Maria and Lily head to an old clubhouse to practice ice skating in preparation for the upcoming winter prom. Lily is a natural, gliding effortlessly across the ice, while Maria struggles to stay balanced. In an attempt to move, Maria loses her footing and injures her knees. But instead of offering help, Lily stands by, watching Maria suffer. She has noticed Maria eyeing her boyfriend, Sean, and decides to teach her a harsh lesson. When Maria returns home, Aram immediately tells her that Lily is not a true friend. Although Maria still wants to believe in their friendship, Aram is adamant. She reminds Maria of all the times Lily has let her down since childhood. In a moment of clarity, Aram offers Maria a chance to rid herself of all the pain, if she agrees to switch places with her. With a soft touch, they reach out to one another, the proximity intensifying as they prepare to exchange roles. But before they can complete the exchange, Amy interrupts, breaking the moment. The following day, Amy helps Maria prepare for prom, carefully doing her makeup and picking out an elegant dress. Maria is hesitant, knowing deep down that it's not what she wants, but she agrees to go for her mother's sake. Yet, as soon as she arrives at the prom, she realizes she made a mistake. Struggling to stay upright as others glide around her, she feels increasingly isolated. However, her evening takes a turn when Sean notices her distress. He offers to help and even asks her for a dance, making Maria's night feel a little brighter. As they dance, Lily watches from the sidelines, glaring at them in jealousy. The mood shifts when Maria, unable to maintain her balance, slips and falls. Sean tries to help, but Lily steps in, pretending not to see Maria on the ground. Mark, the bully, offers his hand only to drag Maria cruelly across the ice. The laughter of her classmates fills the air, mocking her as she cries for them to stop. Eventually, Mark releases her, and Maria, humiliated, runs out of the prom and heads home. Finally, Maria's patience has worn thin. She is done with being treated poorly by everyone around her. In tears, she calls out to Aram, pleading for a way to escape her torment. Together, Maria and her reflection reach out to one another, their hands and lips meeting in an intimate connection. Moments later, Maria steps into the mirror, leaving Aram to take her place in the real world. That night, Amy dreams of giving birth to a baby, but something goes horribly wrong in the process, mirroring the recurring nightmares that have plagued her for years. The same haunting vision continues to torment her, dating back to the day Maria was born. The next morning, as Amy prepares breakfast, she is struck by the noticeable change in Maria's behavior. Normally, Maria would barely touch her food, but today, she devours a bagel, praising its taste in a way she never has before. The shift is subtle but unsettling. Amy is thrilled by the positive change in Maria's behavior, attributing it to some newfound confidence, and she dismisses it as a passing phase. At school the next day, Maria walks in with an air of confidence that is completely different from her usual shy demeanor. When Mark tries to comment on the previous day's events, Maria leans in close and seductively whispers in his ear, instantly silencing him. Sean witnesses the exchange and, curious, asks Maria what she said to Mark. Taking the opportunity, Aram, now in control, uses the same tactic on Sean, leaving him flustered and speechless. Lily, still reeling from the previous day's humiliation, brings up the incident, trying to brush it off as a joke. Aram, unbothered, boldly asks Lily if she can continue teaching her how to skate, showing a confidence that confuses Lily. Though puzzled by the sudden shift in Maria's demeanor, Lily agrees to meet her again at the clubhouse to practice later. After school, Aram goes to meet Dan in his office, pretending to be overjoyed to see him, as if they haven't seen each other in years. Aram is well aware of Dan's numerous affairs, but Amy, too fearful to confront the truth, has been in denial. Determined to expose the truth, Aram contacts Dan's mistress and arranges for her to meet at the clinic at 1 p.m. She also lies to Amy, telling her that she has a date with Dan at the same time. Later, Amy runs into Dan's mistress in the elevator, learning the painful truth that Dan has been seeing another woman. That night, Aram smugly confronts Amy, asking where her husband is. Knowing full well he's with his mistress, Amy lies and says that he's working late. Aram, no longer holding back, bluntly tells Amy to accept the reality, that her husband has been cheating on her for years. In a fit of rage, Amy slaps Aram, immediately apologizing afterward. But despite the slap, Aram smiles, pleased that her plan is succeeding. Maria, however, is uncomfortable with how harsh Aram has been with her mother. Aram dismisses her concerns, arguing that she's doing what Maria has never had the courage to do. She encourages Maria to trust her, but Maria begins to doubt if releasing Aram was the right choice. The next day after school, as everyone is leaving, Aram lures Mark into the shower room, where she waits for the perfect moment. When he's not looking, she strikes him with a hockey stick, knocking him to the ground in agonizing pain and teaching him a lesson he won't soon forget. Afterward, she and Lily head to the clubhouse to practice skating once again. This time, Aram shows off her improved skating skills, much to Lily's annoyance. Lily, who has always considered herself the superior skater, is shocked when Aram mirrors her moves perfectly. Suddenly, Aram skates aggressively toward Lily, and though they exchange no words, the tension is palpable. Lily, sensing danger, attempts to escape, but in the process, she loses her balance and crashes violently into the pavement. The impact is fatal, and Lily dies instantly. Aram, ever the manipulator, immediately calls the police and pretends to be distraught, faking tears as she claims to have found Lily's lifeless body. Maria is in complete shock over what Aram has done to Lily. Overcome with grief, she mourns the loss of her best friend, but Aram coldly justifies the action, claiming that Lily deserved it. Maria, desperate, demands to be freed from the mirror, but Aram refuses, asserting that there is still more to be done. After Lily's memorial, Aram visits Sean's house, feigning sadness about Lily's death. In truth, she seeks to get closer to Sean, fulfilling the desires Maria had always secretly harbored. Aram makes advances toward him, and although Sean initially resists, he eventually gives in, and the two engage in an intimate relationship. Meanwhile, Aram continues to manipulate those around her. During a dinner with Dan, Aram behaves recklessly, ordering crab and eating it messily, much to her father's dismay. When he scolds her, she challenges him by putting her foot on the chair, prompting Dan to harshly criticize her, calling her a pathetic try-hard teenager. This scolding forces her to act more composed, though it doesn't stop her from continuing her rebellious ways. As Aram and Sean's relationship intensifies, they begin skipping classes to spend more time together. When they return to her house, Amy notices their closeness and is visibly unsettled. Aram, undeterred, brushes her mother's concerns aside, telling her to keep sleeping before taking Sean to her room, where they continue their affair. The next day, as Aram and Sean head to school, they notice police officers entering the building. Aram urges Sean to skip class again to avoid any questions from the authorities. They drive to a motel, ready to continue their illicit activities, but Sean receives a call from his mother, informing him that the police want to speak with him and Maria about Lily's death. Sean wants to leave immediately, but Aram insists they stay. She coldly questions him, asking why he still cares about Lily, now that she's dead. This question plants a seed of doubt in Sean's mind, and he begins to suspect that Aram might be involved in Lily's death. When he confronts her, Aram violently strikes him with a bottle, killing him in a fit of rage. She and Maria sit together, crying, as the weight of their actions settles over them. In a flashback, the truth about Maria's past is revealed. Maria had a twin sister, who was born with a disfigured face. Dan, obsessed with perfection, rejected the second girl and, against Amy's will, had her euthanized. Aram, born as the second daughter, has always been hurt by the fact that she was never good enough for her father, a wound that has driven her to violent extremes. Hours later, Aram, drunk and filled with rage, visits Dan's clinic. Dan tries to calm her down, but is shocked when she strips naked in front of him. She presses him to answer a question. Would he still love her if she were deformed? Dan avoids the question at first, but under pressure, he answers that he would love her no matter what. To his horror, Aram then slits his throat with a scalpel. As he breathes his last, Aram asks him why he couldn't just love her. She then cleans the scalpel and searches the mirror for Maria, but she cannot find her. Returning home, Aram crawls into bed beside Amy. In the final scene, both Maria and Aram are seen lying on the bed together with their mother, implying that the two sisters have now merged into one entity. That concludes the recap. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button to help us out. Also, feel free to leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.